Some people don't need a reason to disrespect you, it's their twisted form of entertainment. They provoke you, push you to the edge, and wait for you to snap. But if you stay calm and hit back with a line so calm yet piercing you'll leave them speechless. There are people who thrive on disrespect. They don't want peace, they want to drag you into a messy emotional game where they control the rules. They test your patience, push your buttons, and wait for that moment when you explode. But here's the truth they never see coming. When you lose your temper, they win. When you stay calm, you hold the real power. The real strength lies right here. You don't need to yell, argue, or prove anything. A single sentence, sharp, calm, and perfectly timed, is enough to freeze them in their tracks. This isn't about volume, it's about precision. And today, I'm going to give you those lines, powerful verbal comebacks that shut people down instantly without raising your voice or breaking your composure. After this video, you won't feel disrespected again. You'll know exactly what to say to take back control, keep your dignity, and silence those who try to shake you. By the way, if you enjoy deep, thought-provoking insights on Stoicism, personal growth, and living wisely, check out my free weekly newsletter. Every Sunday, I share powerful lessons, controversial truths, and actionable strategies to help you level up totally free. Just sign up through the link below to start receiving high-value insights straight to your inbox. And if you're a brand looking to partner with content that reaches a deeply engaged audience, my email is in the description. Let's create something impactful together. Comeback 1. You're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to ignore it. This simple phrase is powerful in ways most people don't understand. It's one of the most underused yet effective tools you can wield when dealing with rude, arrogant, or judgmental people. It's neither emotional nor aggressive. It's just a firm reminder that their words have no value in your world. And believe me, nothing gets under a self-important person's skin more than being ignored. The truth is, rude people don't criticize you because they want to help. They don't even always believe what they say. What they truly seek is control. They want to steer the conversation, elevate themselves, and make you feel inferior, as if their opinion is the final word and you're just some clueless person who needs to listen and agree. But here's the thing. When you don't react, when you don't argue or try to explain yourself, when you simply smile and move on, you strip them of all their power. And trust me, they feel it. I used to believe that I had to prove myself to everyone. If someone mocked my ideas, I'd rush to defend them. If someone ridiculed my work, I'd explain why it mattered. I thought that was the way to handle things, but it was a huge mistake. I still remember when I first started working on a project that meant everything to me. I poured weeks of hard work into it, long nights, challenges, sacrifices. One day, I told an old friend about it, expecting some support or enthusiasm. Instead, he smirked and said, "That's a waste of time. You really think anyone's going to care about that?" The old me would have argued back, listing all the reasons why my project had potential. I would have tried to convince him, but instead, I just smiled and said, "You're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to ignore it." Then, I changed the subject. And guess what happened? He had nothing left to say, nothing. He was expecting me to fight for his approval, to defend myself. But instead, I dismissed him completely, and that silence hit harder than any argument ever could. This comeback works because it does the one thing they don't want. It denies them the emotional reaction they're craving. They want to provoke you, get you upset, but instead, you offer them indifference. You show them that their words don't affect you, that you don't need their permission, their validation, or their opinion. And when they realize that, when they see that their voice has no power over you, it hits them hard. So, next time someone tries to challenge your dreams, belittle your path, or make you feel small, remember this: you don't owe them an explanation. What you owe is yourself peace of mind. There's a line that works in nearly every situation. It's simple and direct, and it always lands. You're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to ignore it. It's clean, it's calm. And it works especially well when the disrespect comes from someone close to you, like family. Sometimes it's your parents, siblings, or distant relatives who think they have a say in your life decisions. They question your choices, judge your progress, and throw unsolicited advice your way, acting as if they know what's best for you. In those moments, just smile and remind yourself, you're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to ignore it. This isn't about being rebellious, it's about setting boundaries. Now, let's bring this mindset to the workplace. We've all encountered those coworkers, those who act like they're the smartest person in the room, those who dismiss your ideas without a second thought. You don't need to argue, raise your voice, or defend your position. Just calmly say, "You're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to ignore it." And then walk away. Watch how the energy changes. Here's the hard truth. Most of the people who criticize you aren't doing better than you. They're just louder, and the louder they are, the more insecure they feel deep down. They use sarcasm, volume, and control as a cover for the fact that they might be wrong. That's why this response works so well. You're not just deflecting their attack. You're reminding them, without saying a word, that their words don't matter, their opinion isn't fact. It's just noise, and you've chosen to tune it out. Let me leave you with this timeless saying. A lion doesn't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. That's the mindset you need to carry with you the next time someone speaks rudely about your life, your choices, or your path. Don't argue. Don't explain. Just smile. Say, "You're entitled to your opinion, and I'm entitled to ignore it," and move on with your day. Because at the end of the day, this is your life. And their opinion, completely irrelevant. Come back to, "If I had $1 for every smart thing you said, I'd be broke." Now this one's a gem. It looks like a joke, but it cuts sharper than most insults ever could. Why? Because it's playful on the surface, but underneath, it exposes the truth. This person talks a lot but says nothing intelligent. People who are rude often hide behind noise. They talk over others, mock, insult, but rarely contribute anything meaningful. This comeback strips that shield away. You're not yelling, not insulting directly, you're just pointing out the obvious. And the best part, it's hard for them to respond without proving your point. If they get mad, they look defensive. If they try to argue, they prove they're not as smart as they think. It's what I call a checkmate moment, and I'll tell you exactly how it worked for me. Back in school, I had this classmate, let's call him Ryan. He wasn't particularly bright, successful, or even funny, but he was loud. That was his entire strategy. Be louder than everyone else, throw out sarcastic jabs, and tear others down to build himself up. One day, in a group conversation, I was explaining a simple idea. Ryan, being his usual self, interrupted with a smug comment. "Oh yeah, because you're such a genius, right?" That tone, that fake laugh, arrogance, classic. People laughed not because it was funny, but because he said it loud and confidently. In that moment, you have two choices. Let them win or shut them down. I chose the second. So I looked at him, smiled, and calmly said, "Ryan, if I had $1 for every smart thing you said, I'd be broke." The room went silent. One guy choked on his drink. Another said, "Oh damn." And Ryan, he just shifted in his seat, no words left, nothing to fire back. And that's when I realized, people who are loud aren't always people who are right. And if you call them out the right way, they collapse under their own noise. So why does this second comeback land so hard? Simple. It exposes their lack of intelligence without even calling them dumb. Then by not saying it directly, you're not being openly rude. But you are making one thing crystal clear. They've never said anything worth listening to. That flips the whole dynamic, because rude people, they operate by making others feel small. Their confidence isn't real, it's a mask they wear to hide how little they actually contribute. And when you use this line, you flip their own game back on them. You throw them into a position where they can't win, an MCC hun. If they argue, they look desperate. If they stay quiet, they've basically admitted defeat. Either way, you win. When should you use this line? When someone constantly interrupts you with sarcastic remarks just to make you look foolish. Drop this line. When a coworker always critiques your ideas but never offers anything useful themselves. Yeah, this one's made for them. When a so-called friend constantly mocks you but never says anything smart in return. It's time to stop laughing politely and put them in their place. The reality is brutal. People who love to mock others usually have nothing valuable to say. They think sarcasm makes them sound clever when in truth, it just exposes their insecurity. So next time someone who never brings anything real to the table starts acting like they run the room, just hit them with, "If I had $1 for every smart thing you said, I'd be broke." And then watch the silence settle in. They'll squirm. They'll search for a comeback. but there won't be one. Comeback 3. I don't argue with people who thrive on disrespect. This is more than just a clever comeback, it's a declaration of power. It says, I know exactly what you're trying to do, and I'm not giving you the satisfaction. Let's be real here, some people don't want a conversation. They don't want clarity, they don't want resolution. They just want to create chaos, disrespect others, and feel good doing it. You say something innocent, and they twist it. You offer a solution, and they shut it down without hesitation. You mention you prefer tea over coffee, and suddenly it's a personal attack. They act like being mean is a personality trait. They'll say, I'm just being brutally honest, but really, all they're doing is being brutal. The real question is this: why waste your energy? Why engage in an argument with someone who never respected you to begin with? Let me share a time when I used this line and walked away feeling stronger. I once worked with a guy named Jake. Jake didn't just disagree with people, he reveled in disrespecting them. He'd interrupt constantly, shoot down suggestions without offering any of his own, and wrap every insult in fake politeness. One day, in a team meeting, I presented a simple idea to help improve our workflow. Before I could finish, Jake rolled his eyes and muttered, "Yeah, because you're such an expert, right?" It was petty, it was condescending, and it was completely unnecessary. A few years ago, I probably would have tried to defend myself. Tried to explain, tried to prove that I knew what I was talking about. But that day, I didn't take the bait. I leaned back, made eye contact with him, and calmly said, I don't argue with people who thrive on disrespect. Then, I went silent. The room, dead quiet. Jake had nothing. If he snapped back, he'd prove my point. If he backed down, he'd look weak. So, he sat there, fidgeting, speechless, and exposed. And the best part, he never tried that nonsense with me again. Why is this response so powerful? Because it doesn't insult him directly. It simply describes him, and that hurts more. It takes away his power. People like Jake thrive on getting an emotional reaction from you. They want control. They want to make you feel unstable. But when you stay calm, and you define them instead of defending yourself, you take all the power back. There's something incredibly powerful that happens when you don't give people the reaction they're begging for. You stay calm, they lose their composure. And in that silence something shifts within them. They might never say it out loud. They might never admit it. But deep down, your calmness holds up a mirror, and they don't like what they see. Because you didn't give them the drama they wanted. You gave them a reflection of themselves, and that's far more uncomfortable for them. When should you use the line, I don't argue with people who thrive on disrespect? Use it when someone keeps trying to bait you into a fight. They throw jabs, raise their voice, escalate the tension just to pull you in. Don't feed their fire, let it burn out. Use it when a coworker or boss starts talking down to you. This line sends a clear message. I see exactly what you're doing, and I'm not playing. Use it when a family member or friend crosses the line. Some people think being close gives them a free pass to belittle you. They're wrong. Respect is not optional, it's foundational. Use it when a stranger tries to provoke you, whether in public or online. Not every battle is worth your energy. Some people, they don't even deserve your attention. The harsh truth is this. Some people don't argue to fix anything. They argue to dominate, to frustrate, to feel superior. And, worse, they enjoy making others upset. They get a twisted sense of power by watching someone else lose control. So, what's the best response? No reaction. Just say, I don't argue with people who thrive on disrespect. Say it, mean it, and walk away. Because once they realize they can't control you, they've already lost. Comeback 4. Your attitude isn't going to get you very far in life. This isn't just a clever line, it's a reality check. A wake-up call to someone who's been coasting through life, confusing arrogance with strength. Some people genuinely believe that being rude, sarcastic, and dismissive makes them appear powerful. They think that walking around with a chip on their shoulder is how winners act. But let's be real here. Nobody respects someone who treats others like trash. No boss is going to promote a jerk who can't collaborate. No one builds real friendships with people who constantly mock them. And let's face it, no successful person climbed to the top by insulting others instead of using their brain. So, when you say, Your attitude isn't going to get you very far in life. You're not just shutting them down. You're holding up a mirror to their future. You're forcing them to see that their behavior is writing a story of failure and they're the one holding the pen. Personal story: when I used this line and everything changed. A few years ago, I worked with a guy, we'll call him Mark. Mark thought that rudeness was a personality trait. He didn't just talk down to people, he made it an art form. If you made a mistake, he'd roll his eyes. If you suggested an idea, he'd shoot it down before you even finished. He believed that making others feel small would make him look bigger. Then came the moment that changed everything. During a team meeting, a coworker made a simple comment, something harmless. Mark snapped. Maybe if you actually knew what you were talking about, we wouldn't be wasting time. The room went dead silent. Everyone felt it, but no one said a word. That's the thing, rude people count on the silence of others. But I wasn't staying quiet. I looked him in the eye and said, "Your attitude isn't going to get you very far in life." Then, I just stopped, and the room fell silent. At first, Mark smirked, trying to brush it off. But as the meeting continued, his confidence began to crack. He wasn't laughing anymore. He wasn't interrupting. For the first time, he seemed genuinely uncomfortable, because deep down, he knew I was right. And here's the best part. A few months later, the company announced promotions. Guess who got passed over? Mark. Because no matter how talented you are, if people can't stand working with you, you're going nowhere. It forces them to zoom out and see the bigger picture. Right now, their ego tells them they're winning, but where is that ego really taking them? Nowhere. This line reveals the truth. Their bad attitude isn't just unpleasant, it's self-sabotage. And that hurts more than any insult could, because this isn't name-calling. It's not petty, it's just the truth. And facts, well, facts hurt. Sometimes, the best way to shut down rude and condescending people is to remind them of the long-term cost of their behavior. That snide tone, that arrogance, that "I'm better than you" energy they wear like armor. It's not strength, it's sabotage. And whether it's a stranger acting like a jerk in public, a family member constantly putting others down, or a friend whose negativity poisons every room they enter, they all need to hear the same truth. Your attitude isn't going to get you very far in life. Because being close to someone doesn't give them the right to treat you like less. Being in a position of authority doesn't give anyone the license to belittle. And being loud doesn't mean they're right. Some people walk around thinking that being rude makes them untouchable. They confuse fear with respect. They think that by cutting others down, they're rising up, but life has a way of humbling those who believe they're above everyone else. So next time someone disrespects you, don't stoop to their level. Just look them in the eye and say, "Your attitude isn't going to get you very far in life." Then walk away, and let the silence echo. Because in that moment, they'll feel it. They may not admit it, but deep down, they'll know they're the real problem. Come back 5. This conversation was over before it even started. This isn't just a slick line, it's verbal checkmate. You're not just ending an argument, you're erasing it from existence. You're telling them, "I'm not even stepping into the ring." Because here's what rude people hate more than being challenged. Being dismissed. They thrive on conflict. They live to stir up tension, provoke reactions, and drag you into emotional chaos. That's their battlefield. But when you refuse to engage, when you look them dead in the eye and say, "This conversation was over before it even started," you take away their favorite weapon, control. You remind them loud and clear, their words carry zero weight. And nothing frustrates them more than realizing they don't matter to you. Why this line hits so hard. Picture a bully who's used to getting a rise out of people. He pushes, he mocks, he waits for the explosion. But instead of fighting back, you just walk away, calm, unbothered. Suddenly, the bully's standing there powerless. That's what this line does. It strips away their illusion of control. It tells them, "You don't move me. You're not worth my energy." And that's the deepest cut of all. You've denied them the argument. You've denied them the stage. And now they're left staring into a silence they can't escape. Real life example: when I used this line to end it before it even began. There was a time I worked with someone who made it his mission to criticize everything. Let's call him Jake. Jake would tear down your ideas, your work, even the way you phrased things. And the worst part, he did it all in front of other people. because people like Jake thrive on spectacle. One day, I offered a suggestion during a team meeting. It wasn't even controversial, just a simple improvement for a project. Jake smirked and said, "Yeah, or we could just do it the right way instead." Instant tension. The room went still. Everyone was waiting to see if I'd defend myself, if I'd bite back, but I didn't give him that satisfaction. I looked him dead in the eye and said, "This conversation was over before it even started." Then I turned away and got back to work calm, unfazed. The room, silent. Jake, stunned. He tried to save face, but you could see it. He was rattled. Because he wanted a fight. He expected to win control. But I didn't even show up to the battle, and that destroyed him. And guess what? He never tried that move with me again. When to use this line: when someone's trying to bait you into drama, they don't deserve your energy. When a coworker, boss, or acquaintance gets passive-aggressive, end it early. When a family member starts being unnecessarily rude, don't feed the fire. When a stranger insults you for no reason, don't reward their need for attention. Final reflection: not every fight deserves a warrior. Not every insult warrants a response. Rude people win when they drain your peace. But they lose the moment you show them how little they matter. So next time someone tries to start something, just pause, look at them, and say it with calm clarity: "This conversation was over before it even started." Then walk away. And let them sit there stunned, realizing they never even stood a chance. You see, the real win, it's not when you snap back harder. It's when you stay calm and respond with something so effortlessly dismissive that they realize they lost before they even began. Come back 6. Thanks for your input. I'll be sure to forget it immediately. Now that's the kind of line that leaves a lasting impact. Because rude people crave attention, they thrive on control. They want to shake your confidence, throw you off balance, and drag you into their pit of negativity. But when you respond like this, you pull the rug out from under them. Let's be real. Most of the time, when someone disrespects you, they're not trying to help. They're not offering meaningful feedback. They're not starting a real conversation. They're just making noise, talking for the sake of hearing themselves, and they expect you to take the bait. But instead of treating their words like they matter, you treat them as if they're so small, so irrelevant. They're not even worth remembering. And that is psychological warfare at its most elegant. Why this phrase works like magic? Because it instantly makes their words worthless. Disrespectful people want their insults to linger. They want you to carry them around, let them echo in your head, let them shake your self-worth. But when you say, "Thanks for your input, I'll be sure to forget it immediately," you're sending a message loud and clear. You just wasted your breath. Your words won't even get a second of space in my mind. That realization, crushing. They were ready for anger. They were prepared for a comeback. They wanted to trigger you, but instead, you gave them indifference. And that silence that follows, that's the sound of them realizing they just got played. This response protects your energy. Some people chase conflict like it's a hobby. They crave the drama. But your peace of mind is far more valuable than their chaos. So instead of arguing, defending, or explaining, you drop the line, end the scene, and keep moving forward. How this works in real life. At work, picture a coworker who always shoots down your ideas. Not because they're bad, but because being critical makes them feel superior. They smirk and say, "Interesting take, but let's leave the real ideas to the experts." Instead of getting flustered or defensive, you turn, look them in the eye, and say, "Thanks for your input. I'll be sure to forget it immediately." Then you keep speaking, as if they never even opened their mouth. Instantly, the power shifts, and in front of everyone, they look petty, small, foolish, with toxic friends or relatives. Let's say someone mocks your life choices. They toss a jab like, "Still chasing that dream of yours? When are you going to get serious? Old you might have justified your decisions, explained your path, tried to earn respect, but now you just smile and say, 'I appreciate the comment, it's already erased from my mind.'" Then you change the subject. Effortless, classy, cutting. They'll feel it even if they pretend they don't. Online trolls or strangers. Someone throws a random insult on your post or tries to embarrass you in public. Just respond with, "Oh wow, you must have really thought that one would land. Thanks for the input, I'll forget it in about 3 seconds." The more casual you are, the more devastating it becomes. The psychological power behind this line. Disrespectful people follow a simple formula. They insult, you react, they feel important. But when you answer with effortless dismissal, you break their formula. You deny them their reward. You tell them, your words carry zero weight in my world. And that realization, it shatters them. Comeback 7. You seem really dedicated to making a fool of yourself. That one doesn't just sting, it lingers. Because it flips the spotlight right back onto them. They thought they were putting you on display. They thought they were the clever one, the dominant one, the one in control. But instead, you've just turned the entire room's attention onto them. And not in a flattering way. It's subtle, but lethal. You're not shouting. You're not flustered. You're not even angry. You're calm. You're poised. You're the one holding the mirror. And making them look straight into it. Because here's the truth. Most rude people don't realize how foolish they actually look. They think sarcasm makes them smart. They think dominance means respect. They think getting a rise out of you means they've won. But this line, it plants a seed. And whether they admit it or not, the seed has been planted. Now they're the one under the microscope, not you. And if there are other people around, even better, because now, everyone starts noticing how childish they're acting. You said what everyone else was probably thinking. And you did it with style. Now, they're left with two terrible options. Try to backpedal awkward and exposed. Double down and prove your point even more. Either way, you win. How to use this in real life, at work. Imagine you're in a meeting. You're presenting, trying to focus. But there's that one coworker who just can't help themselves. They interrupt, roll their eyes, make snide comments under their breath. Instead of snapping, you take a moment, look at them with a slight smirk, and say, you seem really dedicated to making a fool of yourself. Then, without missing a beat, you return to your presentation like they don't even exist. And just like that, the energy shifts. They either go quiet, sit in their awkward silence, or try to defend themselves, which only makes them look worse. With toxic friends or family, someone drops a passive-aggressive jab. Wow, you actually did something right for once. Old you might have reacted, argued, got upset, but now, you just chuckle and say, you seem really dedicated to making a fool of yourself. Then you keep enjoying your day. Like their words had all the impact of a fly hitting a window. That silence afterward. That's them realizing they just embarrassed themselves. With strangers or online trolls, someone's trying to get a rise out of you. In public or through a comment thread, you don't argue. You don't explain, you hit them with, you seem really dedicated to making a fool of yourself. Keep up the hard work, then walk away or log off. Let them sit with the weight of their own stupidity. Here's what makes it deadly. It's not just dismissive, it's exposing. You're not throwing a tantrum, you're shining a spotlight. You're not insulting them, you're describing them. And that's why it hurts. Because rude people don't want to be seen for what they really are. Insecure, immature, and trying way too hard. This line forces them to confront that reality. Even if they never admit it out loud, they'll remember this moment. And every time they try to pull the same stunt in the future, that line will echo back in their mind. You seem really dedicated to making a fool of yourself. That's power. Final reflection. At the end of the day, dealing with rude people isn't about out-insulting them. It's about outclassing them. You don't have to raise your voice. You don't need to debate. You don't need to let their words rattle your peace. Because disrespect only works when you allow it to affect you. But when you stay calm, respond sharply, and move on like their words meant nothing, they feel the sting. They realize all their effort to drag you down just made them look worse. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember, you don't need to fight to win. Just remind them, you've already won. Because their words mean nothing to you. Want more insights like this? Subscribe, like, and share. And join my free Sunday newsletter where I share Stoic lessons, controversial truths, and real-world tools to stay sharp, calm, and focused in a chaotic world. See you next time.